Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 4, text 15. Evam gnatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi kuru karmaiva tasmat tvam purvai purvataram kritam. Now Krishna, in the previous verse, he said, Namam karmani limpanti name karma phale spruha. I am not obligated to work in this world. I don't have any desires to achieve, nor any work binds me in this world. And similarly, we discussed that any pure devotee of Krishna, acting for Krishna, will also not have any reaction. So therefore, Krishna is now urging Arjuna, Evam, thus, knowing this, Gnatva, Kritam Karma, Purvairapi Mumukshubhihi, in understanding this knowledge that Krishna is transcendental and Krishna's service is transcendental, Mumukshubhihi Purvaihi, the previous great personalities, the liberated personalities in the past, even though they were mumukshubhihi, liberated, mumukshubhihi api means, even though they were liberated, they did karma, krutam karma. Usually a liberated personality need not do any activity in this world. He is not obligated, nor is he interested in performing any activity, because this activity in this world is of material nature. By nature, it is not pleasure giving, it is pain giving. It is enacted on bodily platform. It is based on illusory concept of life. It's like a reflection. The real activity is in the spiritual world, and anything in this material world is a reflection. That is why you see great personalities. For example, Sukadeva Goswami, who was a liberated person, he did not want to come out of the womb of his mother. His father Vyasadeva was very disappointed, distressed that his son wouldn't come out, because Sukadeva Goswami was a liberated personality. But he was liberated in negating material existence, in the impersonal concept of absolute truth. So Krishna had to come and convince Sukadeva Goswami to come out of the womb, saying that he will not be contaminated. So as soon as he came out, off he went, because he didn't want anything to do with this material world. And Vyasadeva was going behind him to stop him from going away from his house. But Sukadeva Goswami was just going along without any dress. He was naked. And Vyasadeva was shouting, Putra, Putra. And he didn't call back. In fact, only the trees returned his call with their echoes. But then Vyasadeva started to recite the description of the transcendental beauty of Krishna. Barha pidam natavara karnayo karnikaram bibhradvasa kanaka kapisham vaijayantim chamalam randhran venor adhaya sudhaya purayan gopa vrundair. So in this way, Krishna's beauty was described, how with his threefold bending form, he wears a peacock feather on his beautiful head, beautiful face, and his dance is the best. He's like the best dancer, Natavara, and he wears this Karnika flowers in his ears, and he wears this shark-shaped earrings. Yasyananam Makara Kundala Charu Karna, with a beautiful smiling face. He wears beautiful yellow clothing and a Vaijayanti garland. So like this, he started to describe about Krishna. And then Shukadeva Goswami, who was liberated and who was not attracted to anything material, he became captivated by these descriptions, which shows that Krishna Katha, any activity of Krishna, anything related to Krishna consciousness, is not material. It attracts even liberated souls. So Bhagavatam confirms that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms that, Atmaramascha munayo nirgrandha api urukrame kurvanti ahaitukim bhaktim itham bhuta guno harihi. He says, rather Bhagavatam says, which is quoted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even those who are Atma Ramas, Atma Rama means they've got nothing to do with this material world. They are self-satisfied with their spirit soul, thinking we are spirit soul and not the body. But even them, Atma Ramascha Munayo Nirgrandha api, even though they are liberated personalities, Urukrame Ahaitukim Bhaktim, they perform bhakti to Urukrama, Krishna. Krishna is called Urukrama because of his great activities. Kurvanti Ahaitukim Bhaktim, even they perform bhakti to Krishna, because Krishna's service is so transcendentally attractive. So that is what Krishna is saying here. Purvaihi mumukshubhihi api evam gnatva kritam karma. They have understood this principle of doing service to me. It may appear like karma. A devotee may act in service to Krishna, which may appear like karma. He is also working like an ordinary man. He may go to work also, or he may engage in going and talking to business people for setting up deals for Krishna's work, Krishna's temples. So the devotee may appear like an ordinary man, but that is not ordinary. Krishna already clarified, just like he is not obligated, he is not bound by the reactions to work, his devotees working for Krishna are not obligated, or they don't face the reaction. So evam gnatva kritam karma purvairapi mumukshubhihi. Therefore, Arjuna, kuru karmaiva tasmat tvam purvaih purvataram kritam. You also act for me. Don't resign and go and leave the battlefield. Kuru karma eva tasmat. Therefore, tvam purvaihi purvataram kritam. Just like the previous great personalities, liberated personalities, how they have acted, you act like that. So in other words, taking to Krishna consciousness is not an excuse to resign from activities and go to forest. Many times in the initial stages of Krishna consciousness, I hear devotees expressing their interest. Prabhu, I just want to quit my job and go to Vrindavan or Mayapur and settle there. Many times Prabhupada would chastise his disciples when they first went to Vrindavan. They were associating with some Babajis in Radhakunda. And sometimes they would give up their association with our movement and just go there and just try to imitate them. And Prabhupada would severely chastise them. That unless you are purified in your heart, you cannot constantly engage in the service of the Lord 24 hours. First, we need to be cleansed by serving the spiritual master. And even when you are liberated, the service to spiritual master continues. It's not that, oh, once you are liberated, no, I can do anything I want. I'll just go and resign into one place. Just see the example of Srila Prabhupada himself. He was, there was no need for him. He was completely liberated personality, pure devotee. He was resigned in Vrindavan, not with an intent to just relish that calm, peaceful, devotional atmosphere, but he was preparing, lifelong he was preparing just one statement, one order of his spiritual master. To execute that order, he was preparing for his life. He was taking inspiration from the devotional atmosphere in Vrindavan. He was surrendering to the previous acharyas. He was praying to Rupa Goswami to inspire him, to prepare him. He expressed that he has inability to do the great task given by his spiritual master. So Prabhupada never resigned into one place. He performed great service. He took up the great task of crossing the ocean. What all he did to even just secure a ticket to go to the West. Even to get his visa stamped, he had to do so much. And to print Back to Godhead magazines, to print Bhagavatams, he was working day and night. So, in other words, service to Krishna is not about resigning from duties. In fact, there is more vigor and energetic a devotee becomes when it is coming to service to Krishna. So, Krishna is advising, don't give up your work. Kuru karmaiva tasmatvam. In our history, there is this personality, the son of Swayambhuva Manu. I'm forgetting his name. He resigned from his duties and he went to the ashram of Narada Muni. And he was happy. He was engaged in Krishna consciousness, happily hearing and chanting. And he didn't want to take up any kingly duties. But then there has to be a successor for the rule. So he was not coming. And then his father had to go. Swayambhu Manu had to go to convince him. And not only him, Lord Brahma himself comes along with some great personalities to convince him. And Lord Brahma said, we are all bound by the order of the Supreme Lord, our Supreme Father. We have to work, we have to please the Lord by doing our duties. Yasya dishtam, we are obligated by his order. Even I work, even though I am the topmost personality in the universe, I have to work every single day with so many duties. And then finally they convince him. And then he comes to rule. And he remains transcendental because he was executing the order of Krishna. Even though he married and he was acting as a king, he was performing so many kingly duties. But he was not overcome by anything material because he was performing the service for Krishna as an emperor. So when you act for Krishna, you are protected. And when you don't act for Krishna, even though you may resign from your material duties, a danger may come. You may go inside the water like Shaubhari Muni, but he was drawn to material attraction just by looking at two fish romancing with each other. His mind was disturbed. So the secure and sure way of remaining transcendental is by taking up service of Krishna, even though you may be on the liberated platform, especially the service to the spiritual master. Prahlad Maharaj, he, when Narasimhadeva appeared, he wanted Prahlad Maharaj to take a benediction. You can take a benediction. You've suffered enough from your father, persecuted by your father. So please ask you any benediction. And Prahlad Maharaj, he said, Evam janam nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kamabhikamanuyah prapatan prasangat कृत्वात्मसात् सुरर्षिणा भगवन् गृहीता सोहम कथम नु विसृजे तव भृत्य सेवाम. So he said, my lord, please don't ask me to take any benediction, but I am asking you one thing. What is that? Your devotee, your pure devotee, Narada Muni, he has saved me from this blind well of material existence, which is compared to like a blind well full of poisonous snakes. Just see the comparison Prahlad Maharaj gives. As much as we may think this material world is full of roses and enjoyment and nectar, Prahlad Maharaj compares this to a blind well full of snakes, poisonous snakes. These sensual activities, the desires of senses are like biting always, which is dragging us to our spiritual death. Kamabhikamam anuyah prapatan prasangat. By associating with demoniac people and with these sensual desires, I was falling down to the deep into this material existence. But your devotee, Surarshina, Narada Muni, Kritvatmasat, he has delivered me. Soham katham nu visruje tava bhrutya sevam. How can I leave his service? Tava bhrutya means your pure devotee, Narada Muni, seva. Katham nu visruje, how can I leave? So you see all these examples, the great personalities, they are mumukshubihi. They are mukta personalities. But still they performed service for Krishna. That is what Krishna is advising. Learn from them. That is why real learning is learned from the learned. Mahajano yena gatah sa pantha. We have to follow the path prescribed by great personalities. Pantha means path. Mahajano means great personalities, liberated personalities. Whatever path they have established, we should follow. Now, all right, Mumukshubihi, the great personalities, they have done service to Krishna. Therefore, you also do. What about ordinary people? So, Prabhupada says in the purport, there are two classes of men. Some of them are full of polluted material things within their hearts, and some of them are materially free. Krishna consciousness is equally beneficial for both of these persons. So there are two people. One is those who are materially free, that which I had been discussing, mumukshubihi, muktaha. Of course, that also has two categories. Those who are desiring to be free and are endeavoring, like sadhakas, and those who have already become free. So that all, let's keep that under one category, mumukshubihi category. And there is other category, which is the material persons who are full of polluted hearts. So Prabhupada says, those who are full of dirty things can take to the line of Krishna consciousness for a gradual cleansing process, following the regulative principles of devotional service. And those who are already cleansed of the impurities may continue to act in the same Krishna consciousness so that others may follow their exemplary activities and thereby be benefited. So, both kinds of people can get benefit from Krishna consciousness. Bhagavatam says, Nivrittatarshayir upagiyamanat bhavaushadat shrotra manobhiramat ka uttama shloka gunanuvadat puman virajjeta vina pashugnat. So Prabhupada is classifying two classes of men. Bhagavatam classifies three classes of men. So what are these three classes? As I said, one is completely liberated, vimukta. Only they fully enjoy chanting of the holy name. Like Haridas Thakur, he was chanting every day 194 malas of Hare Krishna mantra. Practically the whole day and night he was chanting. Can we do that day in and day out? Sometimes devotees chant extra rounds for Ekadashi. But can we do that every day? We can, provided we get the taste. But the taste is attained only when you become liberated. So there are these people, liberated personalities, vimuktas, they completely relished chanting. And then there are those who want to be liberated, mumukshubihi. For them, they also relish chanting not as much as the completely liberated. And for these who are desiring liberation, the chanting acts as the medicine from this material existence. Bhavaushadhat. So chanting can be relished as well as for those who cannot come on that platform, chanting acts as the medicine. And the third category is those who are on the material platform who wants to enjoy their senses. For them also chanting is pleasing. Shrotra manobhiramat. So a lot of people, they come to temple. One person I met, I see him only few times. Many times I miss him. And I asked him one day, hey, somehow you escape me. When do you come and when do you go? He said, I come only for the kirtan part. I don't like classes and all that philosophy, but I like your kirtans and I like to see the dances and all of that. And of course, I like prasadam, so I just come at that time and then go. You see how Shrotra Manobhiramat, Prabhupada one time he said, this Jagai and Madhai, these two sinful people in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the most sinful, it is said that there was no sin that they did not commit. So, it seems when the devotees were going on Harinam Sankirtan, like how we go on the streets in downtowns, and people would look at us and they would clap and they would dance and they would enjoy the music and the beats of drums and all that, isn't it? All of you might have experience. So similarly, this Jagai and Madhai would see, and Prabhupada said, this Jagai and Madhai would say, the devotees, see these rascals? They are doing this, they chant nicely, this Hare Krishna chanting, and they also chant Hare Krishna. So even though they are the most materially intoxicated person, still they also can enjoy. That is the power of the chanting. So all three categories of people can take to Krishna consciousness. And all of them can get benefited. So basically Arjuna's desire to retire from activities on the battlefield was not approved by the Lord. So don't retire. One need only know how to act. To retire from the activities of Krishna consciousness and to sit aloof, making a show of Krishna consciousness, is less important than actually engaging in the field of activities for the sake of Krishna. And Arjuna here is advised to act in Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of the Lord's previous disciples, such as the sun god Vivaswan. Here is another example. See, Vivaswan, Krishna first gave the knowledge to Vivaswan. Vivaswan manave praha manur ikshvakave bravit. Vivaswan is the sun god. You see, every day, clockwork precision, the sun is rising. We can predict even at what time the sun will rise. Clockwork. But Vivaswan is a great Rajarshi and a liberated personality. But he is doing the work of Krishna. Yes, Yagnaya Brahmati Sambhrita Kala Chakro. He is following the order of Krishna. How nicely he is doing the order of Krishna. Can the sun say, no, I'll resign from activity? No. He is seeking pleasure from serving Krishna. So therefore, Krishna is telling Arjuna, even those kind of great personalities, they are doing service. So, Purvai Purvataram, just like that, Kuru Karma Iva Tasmatvam, he is telling Arjuna. The Supreme Lord knows all his past activities as well as of those of persons who acted in Krishna consciousness in the past. Therefore, he recommends the acts of the sun god who learned this art from the Lord some millions of years before. All such students of Lord Krishna are mentioned here as past liberated persons engaged in the discharge of duties allotted by Krishna. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments? Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.